So I have a lot of friends in this business, and it's funny when you get a job like this, how those friends start popping up again.
All right, what's up, everybody? Ryan Braunger. I sat in the host chair today. I'm not the host of this radio show. I screwed up from the very beginning. Thank God I have Nick in the back, super producer. I messed up the microphone. I messed up the ad reads. David Nuno is a professional. I'm not. But what I did was able to throw together in terms of a radio show. We had the boss man, Billy Liucci, for the first hour. I welcomed in the entire Texas A&M, the new Texas A&M baseball staff in terms of the assistants. That took up the majority of the 9 o'clock hour. We had Jason Howell on to talk recruiting. We closed the show with Kendall Rogers from D1 Baseball. It was full. It went by fast. That way I can get up and get out of here. That's what I like to do when I come in and host. Here's the rewind.
So, yes, do I think all the things Elko is going to bring together make this a better football team? Yes, I do. How many wins does that result in? I don't know because of that schedule. This is a very interesting schedule to me when you look at it.
You think LSU's good?
Notre Dame? No, I think LSU's going to be around the level of A&M.
Yeah.
And you're playing them at home. So while I look at LSU and Missouri and you're going to see a ranked number by their name, I think those are games that I'm I think the Aggies are going to win those. I think, if you made me bet my money today, I'd be I don't really know if I want to bet those, but I'm going to pick A&M. But I'm looking at Florida, at Auburn, but then even at Mississippi State, out South Carolina. I think Mississippi State's not going to be good, but I don't know what their offense is going to look like. They got the guy from Baylor. They got Levy.
Mm-hmm.
What's their offense going to look like in year one? Are they a dangerous football team at home? Maybe it's just that at home they're pretty those road games worry me. Look at those 4 conference road games. The 2 worst teams out of that bunch are very tough places to play. So whatever that level that team is, they're going to be a lot higher. And then those other 2, those are 2 very talented teams that you have to go play in front of. What I don't know what their capacities are, 90,000, 80, 90,000, very talented teams. So it's scary. That schedule.
I don't buy into
much
until Beamer gives me something to really believe
in. I don't buy into him.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if A&M
was so bad in that game 2 years ago, and they still almost won it. That Connor was played half the game.
But that South Carolina also went in the next couple of weeks and beat the humiliated number 1 or 2 Tennessee with Hendon Hooker, and then they humiliated Clemson.
Yeah, that's true. And that to me,
but I don't think they're good. Don't get me wrong.
To me, I think that's the point that you specifically and me when I have conversations with some of the people that ask me how I think Texas and Oklahoma are going to do coming into the league. It's do you realize that the margins are so fine? You can't go on the road. You don't get to go the road. And no disrespect to Baylor, but you can't go on the road to Baylor and play your C-plus game and still win.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen if you go to South Carolina. Have y'all discussed your role with the offense? I know you'll be in the cage with Mike and Caleb, but how will it look like from a base coaching perspective? Who's going to call the offense? Have y'all talked about anything?
We haven't talked about running the offense. I'm sure Mike will run the offense, but I will be out of the dugout at third base.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
We found that out a couple days ago.
Yeah. And then there's responsibility that comes with that. You watch Nolan do it for a couple of years. How much of your playing days come back to coaching bases? Because you have to plan ahead.
1,000%. It's a feel deal. When you're coaching third, there's a lot of game feel, and being a shortstop, being in the middle of the field my whole career. I think it'll be a pretty smooth transition.
What's it been like getting to know Caleb Longley and Jason Kelly?
I knew Caleb a little bit before this. He's always been awesome, hard worker. Really found out how hard right now, going through all this. And then JK, he came in about a week ago, so we tried to break it down a little bit. He had to get out. I had to get out to Melissa, so I'm excited to break it down a little bit more with him.
How much – is there a light at the end of the tunnel yet in terms of hey, this thing is going to slow down? Because I think the goal is to get the roster set. And then you guys can maybe take a little bit of a vacation.
Yeah, it's going to slow down. It's never going to stop. But we're getting there. I think.
Well, how much of your time has been devoted to high school recruiting compared to portal recruiting right now?
That was the first time we went out. Was yesterday
for high school.
Yep.
So it's been all portal stuff. And you guys, I don't know I don't want to get you in trouble with what you can and can't say about commitments. I don't know about, guys have signed, but it's been a really strong portal class so far.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts on what you've done and where you could go in just terms of like the quality you're bringing in?
I mean, it's been really fun, honestly. Getting to know the staff as we're having visits and doing all that. It's been a whirlwind. It's been treading water a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But man, we're a united front already. It's been good.
Yeah, like they say, what can be measured can be improved.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
But there's also, I love that, I'm sure you saw it on the Washington Nationals bullpen, the sign. We don't care how hard you throw a ball for.
Yeah.
So looking at this A&M, have you been able to dive into the guys that are coming back? Have you looked at any of the profiles of the guys that will be on the roster next year? I know how difficult this week has probably been, but have you looked at anything like that?
I've dug in a little bit. Most of my work on digging in has been with incoming guys coming in from the portal over the last couple of days. I've talked to almost everybody. We've had communication, so I know what they do, and I've gotten a good breakdown from the coaching staff on kind of where each guy needs to go, that next step that they feel. Incredibly talented. I mean, I'm sitting back here and Mike and Caleb are going, 94 to 98, okay, next guy, 92 to 96 with a hammer. And I'm just going, well, what are we complaining about? Like, the horses are in the stable. Yeah. So it'll be about getting those guys focused on the right things and then forming a bullpen and putting guys in the right position to get people out.
Your role on the recruiting front, obviously with the pitchers, I'm sure you'll have a major role, but you are really tied to the West Coast. Like you grew up in California, played in California, started cutting your teeth as a coach in California. On the 2024 A&M starting 9, I think 4 or 5 were Cali kids. And so how important is that connections for you to reignite those connections now for A&M on the recruiting front?
It's you've seen the SEC start to go west and do a good job over there. So I'm excited about that and being from the West Coast and coaching on the West Coast the last 2 years, they were picking away some of the best players, with Grohovac especially, and you see guys kind of scattered all over this conference. But that's going to be a huge thing for me. I was a recruiting coordinator for 12, 13 years, so I have a lot of friends in this business, and it's funny when you get a job like this, how those friends start popping up again. And the guys that they weren't necessarily giving you their best are now going, hey, I've got this. So those relationships will definitely help. And Mike's got those relationships with guys out there too.
Yeah, and they've also, I think, probably understated to a certain extent the addition of Miles Patton out of the transfer portal. Look, they got a bunch of their arms back, Kendall, but this kid, when you look at what he did out west in a couple of seasons and then how he projects – it looks a lot like Ryan Prager's stuff, and A&M could still get Ryan Prager back. I'm not expecting it, but just your thoughts about A&M winning that battle for Miles Patton.
Yeah, that was a really interesting one because I had heard, I don't know, this is probably the middle of Omaha. He's probably going to Texas, and it's just really interesting that, the staff leaves A&M, goes to Texas, and all of a sudden he prefers to be at A&M. So it's just that it was interesting just kind of how that unfolded. But, I think I don't want to call him an insurance policy because I don't think that's doing him justice. But, I mean, it really is an insurance policy where if Ryan Prager does sign, which, by the way, I've heard kind of the same as you, that, right now, I mean, he's probably going to be a late second round, early third round. He's probably going to get a pretty good signing bonus. So if A&M gets him back, I mean, honestly, it's like double icing on the cake. Like, I'm not expecting that at this point. But if he doesn't come back, all of a sudden you have a really nice option in a guy who's up to 93, 94 with his fastball, can mix multiple pitches, who, racked up a lot of strikeouts last year out west. And so, now you're going into the season where you're like, okay, if we lose Prager, we're still in really, really good shape. And you know what? If you get Prager back, then, I mean, you've literally got like somebody like Lampkin or Miles Patton is like your Tuesday guy, which isn't even fair. So, yeah, I mean, they've done a really nice job. I like some of the other arms they've gotten. The Jesus kid out of McLennan has really good stuff. McLennan, Tyler Johnson, Skip's son. I mean, he's been pretty unlucky because A&M got, I think, their number 1 guy, and I think Texas just got their number 2 guy. So McLennan getting poached a little bit by A&M and Texas. But, yeah, I mean, A&M's going to go into the season next year as probably the preseason number 1 or preseason number 2 team. And what a situation for Coach Early to kind of inherit over there.
All right, by now, if you don't know what to do, get off the page. I'm kidding. I'll give you a reminder. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. It helps grow the algorithm. It helps TexAgs. It helps you, because the more that you get to listen to guys like me talk about sports, the better your life is going to be. Ryan Braunger in the host chair. David Nuno's back next week. Nick Savage is here tomorrow. SEC Media Days on deck, August 31st, right around the corner. Aggies in Notre Dame.